Adana had always dreamt of attending a prestigious all-girls boarding school. Her heart raced with excitement as she packed her bags, imagining the new friends, experiences, and opportunities that awaited her. Her parents were supportive, proud of her ambition. Chukwudi, her father, nodded in agreement, but there was a hint of concern in his eyes. Adana's excitement intensified as they drove to the school, the landscape of the countryside unfolding outside the car window. This is it, the beginning of something amazing, she thought to herself, her heart pounding with anticipation. Adana clutched her suitcase tightly as the grand gates of Queen's College Lagos swung open. Her heart raced with excitement as she gazed at the sprawling campus. It was everything her parents had promised: prestigious, disciplined, and the perfect place to make lifelong friends. Adana, remember why you're here, her mother's voice rang in her mind as they hugged goodbye earlier that morning. Focus on your studies, avoid bad company, and make us proud. Adana nodded confidently. She had big dreams, becoming a lawyer and making her family proud. As she stepped into the noisy dormitory, her new roommate, Ebeli, greeted her with a warm smile. Welcome to dormitory life. It's not as scary as it looks, Ebeli teased, helping her unpack. Adana chuckled, feeling a sense of relief. Little did she know, behind the laughter and chatter of dorm life, secrets lingered in the shadows, waiting to unfold. Within a week, Adana quickly learned who ruled the school. At the top of the social ladder were a group of senior girls led by Amaka, a tall, confident final-year student with a sharp tongue and a commanding presence. "Freshie, come here," Amaka called one day during lunch, gesturing at Adana. Adana hesitated, glancing at Ebeli, who whispered, "Be careful with them." Despite the warning, Adana approached cautiously. Amaka's smile was welcoming, almost too sweet. "You have potential," Amaka said, her voice smooth like honey. "Stick with us, and you'll survive this place." Flattered, Adana felt a strange pull toward the group. They seemed so glamorous, so confident. It didn't matter that they whispered about teachers and teased other students. For a girl eager to belong, their attention felt like an honor. It wasn't long before Amaka's group invited Adana to hang out after lights out. They called it midnight chats, where they whispered secrets, shared forbidden snacks, and laughed at things that felt scandalous. "You'll love this," Amaka said, handing Adana a small bottle of soda spiked with something that made it taste odd. "It's just a little fun." Adana hesitated but took a sip. The laughter around her was infectious, and she didn't want to seem uptight. But as the night wore on, their conversations grew deeper, veering into topics that made her feel uneasy. "You've never had a crush on a girl before?" another senior Kemi asked bluntly. "No," Adana replied, startled. "Don't worry, you're still learning," Amaka said with a knowing smile. Adana laughed nervously, unsure of what to make of their words. It was a chilly Friday night, and the dormitory was unusually quiet. The group had planned another midnight chat in the common room, a place usually reserved for studying during the day, but claimed by seniors at night. Adana hesitated as she pulled on her cardigan, unsure why her heart felt heavy. When she arrived, the group was already there, sitting in a loose circle. The dim light cast long shadows on the walls, and the air felt charged with something she couldn't quite place. "Freshie, come sit here," Amaka beckoned with a wide smile, patting the spot next to her. Adana hesitated but sat down. The group chatted as usual, gossiping about teachers and teasing one another. But tonight, the conversation shifted to more intimate topics. "Adana, have you ever kissed anyone before?" Amaka asked suddenly, her voice light but with an edge that demanded honesty. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Adana, and her cheeks burned. "No," she admitted, trying to laugh it off. Amaka smirked. "You're so innocent. Don't worry, we can help you with that." Adana's stomach twisted, unsure of what she meant. Before she could say anything, Amaka leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Relax. You trust us, don't you?" The others murmured encouragement, their voices blending into a chorus that made it hard for Adana to think clearly. She felt trapped, the warmth of their attention suffocating rather than comforting. "Just a little kiss," Amaka said, her tone playful but firm. "It's no big deal. Everyone here has done it. Right, girls?" The group nodded, laughing softly. "It's just for fun, Adana," one of them chimed in. Amaka moved closer, her gaze locking onto Adana's. "You don't want to be the odd one out, do you?" Adana's heart raced as Amaka's face came closer. She felt a strange mix of fear, curiosity, and confusion. When their lips touched briefly, it felt foreign, wrong. Her instincts screamed at her to pull away, but the group's laughter and approval echoed in her ears. "That wasn't so bad, was it?" Amaka said, pulling back and smiling as if she had just done Adana a favor. Adana forced a laugh, but inside, she felt a knot tightening in her chest. The others clapped and cheered as if she had passed some unspoken test. "See? You're one of us now," Amaka said, wrapping an arm around Adana's shoulder. "You're growing up, freshie." Adana nodded, her throat dry. But as the night wore on and the group moved on to other topics, she couldn't shake the unease that lingered. Something about what had happened felt wrong, and yet she couldn't find the words to explain it, not to herself, and certainly not to anyone else. That night, as she lay in her bunk staring at the ceiling, a tear slid down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly, afraid that someone might notice. Deep down, Adana knew this wasn't the kind of friendship she had imagined when she first walked through the gates of Queen's College. Amaka's influence deepened. She introduced Adana to a new set of rules. "Parents don't understand us," she often said. "We're smarter than them." Adana wanted to resist, but the thrill of belonging was too strong. "You're changing, Adana," Ebeli said one evening, her voice trembling with concern. "You don't even study with me anymore. What's going on with you and Amaka's group?" Adana scoffed. "You wouldn't understand." "Be careful," Ebeli warned. "Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend." Her words lingered in Adana's mind, but she brushed them aside, convinced that Ebeli was jealous. Back home during midterm break, Adana's mother, Ngozi, noticed subtle changes in her daughter. She seemed distracted, her usual chatter replaced by vague answers and long silences. "How's school?" her mother asked one evening. "It's fine," Adana replied, avoiding eye contact. But Ngozi wasn't convinced. Adana's once bright eyes now carried a shadow, and her laughter seemed forced. Something was wrong, but Adana was determined to keep it to herself. Adana began lying to her parents about her activities at school. The once transparent relationship she shared with them now felt suffocating. Ngozi Okeki sat in the living room that evening, staring at the clock. Adana had barely said more than 2 sentences since arriving home for the holidays. The vibrant, talkative girl she once knew was now reserved and distant. Determined to bridge the gap, Ngozi knocked on Adana's bedroom door. "Come in," Adana said, her voice flat. Ngozi sat beside her on the bed, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "Adana, is everything okay?" "Yes, Mama, everything's fine," Adana replied without looking up from her phone. Ngozi sighed. "You know you can talk to me, right? About anything?" Adana nodded, but remained silent. That night, Ngozi confided in her husband, Chukwudi. "Something is wrong with Adana. I can feel it. She's not the same." "Teenagers go through phases," Chukwudi replied, though even he couldn't ignore how withdrawn their daughter had become. Determined to uncover the truth, Ngozi requested a private meeting with the school counselor. "I feel like I'm losing my daughter," she said. The counselor's face tightened. "You're not the first parent to bring this up. Some senior students have been influencing younger girls in ways that are concerning." Ngozi's heart sank. She had suspected something was wrong, but hearing it confirmed left her shaken. "Please, help me save my daughter," Ngozi pleaded. That evening, Ngozi sat Adana down in the school cafeteria. "Adana, I know something is wrong. You're not yourself anymore, she said gently. I'm fine, Mama, Adana shot back, tears threatening to spill. Fine girls don't act like strangers in their own homes, Ngozi replied, her voice calm but firm. You can tell me anything, Adana, anything at all. Adana looked away, guilt and fear battling within her. Later that night, alone in her dorm, Adana felt the weight of her mother's words. She finally opened up to Ebeli. I feel trapped, Ebeli, she admitted. Amaka and the others, they're not what I thought they were. Ebeli squeezed her hand. You don't have to stay with them. We can figure this out together. For the first time in months, Adana felt a flicker of hope. Back with Amaka's group, Adana's hesitation was evident. She no longer laughed at their jokes or participated in their late-night discussions. What's wrong with you? Amaka snapped one evening. Maybe I just don't belong here, Adana murmured. Amaka's eyes narrowed. You think you're better than us now? Adana didn't reply. The silence between them spoke volumes. After speaking with the counselor, Ngozi decided to involve Chukwudi. Together, they requested a formal meeting with the school authorities. This is about more than our daughter, Chukwudi said firmly. It's about protecting all the girls here. The principal assured them the matter would be investigated, but Ngozi wasn't entirely convinced. The following week, the school announced stricter rules for senior student interactions with juniors. Amaka's group was quietly disbanded, and the girls were warned about their behavior. Adana felt a mix of relief and fear. She was free from their influence, but she knew the road to regaining herself would be long. Adana began spending more time with Ebeli and a group of students focused on academics and extracurricular activities. Slowly, she started feeling like herself again. You're stronger than you think, Ebeli encouraged her one day. Adana smiled. I'm trying. During the next holiday, Adana opened up to her parents about everything that had happened. I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier, she said, tears streaming down her face. Ngozi hugged her tightly. You're my daughter, Adana. No matter what, we'll face everything together. Adana's experience became a turning point for her family. Her parents realized the importance of creating a safe space for their children to share their struggles. Parenting is more than giving instructions, Chukwudi admitted to Ngozi one evening. It's about listening too. By her final year, Adana had grown into a confident, independent young woman. She excelled in her studies, participated in debates, and even mentored younger students. As she stood on the stage during graduation, looking out at her parents, she felt a surge of gratitude. I'm not perfect, but I'm stronger now, she thought. Her journey had been difficult, but it taught her the value of resilience, trust, and self-discovery. Adana's journey was a wake-up call, not just for her, but for her parents. As they left the graduation ceremony, Ngozi reflected on the lessons they had learned. Schools shape children, but the foundation begins at home, she said to Chukwudi. He nodded. We must be more prayerful and intentional about where we send our children. It's not just about academics, but the values they're exposed to. Parents, be vigilant. Know the environments you place your children in and never assume they are too young to face challenges. Open communication, active involvement, and consistent prayers are essential. Our children need guidance, not just rules, but our presence and understanding. As Ngozi clasped Adana's hand tightly, she whispered, God, thank you for keeping her. We won't take this for granted again. Let every parent take heed. The world is changing and our children need us more than ever.